Hey everyone, grab your popcorn, because we're diving headfirst into the most explosive Hollywood drama of 2025. This is the showdown that's got the entire entertainment world buzzing. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni in a legal battle that's tearing apart reputations, exposing secrets, and threatening to rewrite the rules of Tinseltown. Trust me, this isn't just a lawsuit, it's a full-on Hollywood reckoning, packed with jaw-dropping twists, shocking evidence, and stakes so high they could bankrupt an A-list empire. You're going to want to stick with me until the very end because I'm breaking down every detail, from the courtroom chaos to the devastating fallout. Let's jump right in. Imagine this. Blake Lively, Hollywood's golden girl, the star of Gossip Girl, and The Age of Adeline, living what seems like a fairy tale life with her charming husband, Ryan Reynolds. With a net worth of around $50 million, a string of high-profile endorsements, and a reputation as a feminist icon, she's been untouchable for years. On the other side, we have Justin Baldoni, the Jane the Virgin heartthrob, who's transitioned into a respected director and producer, known for his advocacy for positive masculinity and his work on 5 Feet Apart. These two teamed up for It Ends With Us, a 2024 romantic drama based on Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel. The film was a massive hit, raking in over $351 million at the box office, but behind the scenes, things were anything but romantic. What started as whispers of tension during the movie's press tour has erupted into a legal firestorm that's shaking Hollywood to its core. So, how did we get from a blockbuster hit to a courtroom massacre? Let's rewind and unpack this wild saga. It all kicked off in December 2024 when Blake Lively dropped a bombshell. She filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, accusing Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director on It Ends With Us, of sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Her allegations were explosive. She claimed Baldoni made inappropriate sexual comments, bragged about his supposed addiction to adult entertainment, and even improvised an unwanted kiss during a romantic scene. Lively said these actions made her and other female crew members uncomfortable, and when she spoke up, Baldoni allegedly retaliated by launching a smear campaign to tank her reputation. By December 31st, she escalated her complaint into a federal lawsuit filed in New York, targeting Baldoni, his production company Wayfarer Studios, and several publicists. The lawsuit included text messages that appeared to show Baldoni and his PR team plotting to bury Lively's image, painting her as difficult and unprofessional. It was a power move, and at first it seemed like Lively had the upper hand. Outlets like People and US Weekly ran sympathetic stories, framing her as a courageous victim taking on a powerful director. Social media was abuzz, with fans rallying behind her hashtag #StandWithBlake. But here's where the plot twists. Justin Baldoni didn't just roll over. He came out swinging with a counterattack that flipped the entire narrative. On January 16, 2025, Baldoni filed a staggering $400 million defamation lawsuit against Lively, Ryan Reynolds, their publicist Leslie Sloan, and even The New York Times, for publishing what he called a libelous article about Lively's claims. This wasn't just a response. It was a 179-page legal missile packed with emails, text messages, and video footage that Baldoni said proved Lively's accusations were not only false, but part of a calculated scheme to destroy his career. He claimed Lively was trying to seize creative control of It Ends With Us, sidelining him as director, turning the cast against him, and using her harassment allegations to cover up her own PR missteps during the film's troubled promotional tour. Fans had criticized Lively for seeming flippant about the movie's domestic violence themes, and Baldoni's team argued she was desperate to shift the blame. Let's dive into the evidence, because this is where Lively's case starts to unravel. Baldoni's legal team, led by the ferocious attorney Brian Friedman, unleashed a mountain of communications that tell a very different story from Lively's victim narrative. Text messages between Blake and Justin show her being warm, friendly, and even flirty. In one April 2023 text about a scene rewrite, Lively wrote, If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball-busting will play. It's my love language. Spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. These don't sound like the words of someone who felt harassed or uncomfortable, do they? There's more. Emails from Lively to Baldoni and the It Ends With Us team show, her praising his vision and expressing excitement about the project. One email from June 2023 has her gushing about a rough cut of the film, saying, "Justin, you're killing it. This is going to be huge." And then there's the video footage. The kind of evidence that doesn't lie. Lively had claimed Baldoni was unprofessional during a romantic scene, adding unscripted body movements and words that made her uneasy. But on January 21st, 2025, Baldoni's team released footage from May 23rd, 2023, showing both actors performing the scene professionally, within the boundaries of their roles. The cameras were rolling, and there's no hint of the misconduct Lively described. But Baldoni didn't stop there. He went for the jugular, exposing what he calls a sham lawsuit that Lively's team allegedly used to obtain those incriminating text messages in the first place. According to court filings, in September 2024, a company called Van Zandt Inc., linked to Lively and Reynolds, filed a lawsuit in New York State Court against unnamed Doe defendants. Baldoni's team claims this was a fake lawsuit designed to secure subpoena power and extract private communications from his publicist, Jennifer Abel, without raising suspicion. Those texts, which Lively later used in her complaint, were handed over by another publicist, Stephanie Jones, who Baldoni says betrayed him. Jones is now suing Baldoni for defamation, while Baldoni and Abel have countersued her, alleging she leaked the texts to help Lively's team. It's a dizzying web of lawsuits within lawsuits, but the takeaway is clear. Baldoni's team argues that Lively's entire case is built on manipulated evidence and shady tactics, and the judge overseeing this circus seems to agree. Let's talk about that first court hearing on February 3rd, 2025, because it was an absolute disaster for Blake Lively. Both sides walked into the U.S. District Court in Manhattan, expecting a routine pretrial conference, but it turned into a 90-minute legal slaughter. Judge Louis J. Lyman, who's presiding over the case, was not impressed with Lively's legal maneuvers. Her team, led by high-profile attorneys Michael Gottlieb and Ezra Hudson, came in with a laundry list of motions. They wanted a gag order to silence Baldoni's attorney, a protective order to keep sensitive information under wraps, and they even tried to block Brian Friedman from deposing Lively, claiming his media comments were harassing. The judge shot down every single one of those motions. Every single one. He rejected the gag order, pointing out that Lively's team had leaked her complaint to the New York Times before filing it, so they couldn't cry foul about public discourse now. He dismissed the protective order's overly broad terms, though he later granted a narrower version on March 13th to cover trade secrets and medical info. And when Lively's lawyers argued she shouldn't have to face Friedman's questioning, the judge was blunt. You don't get to pick who cross-examines you in a lawsuit you started. This hearing wasn't just a setback for Lively, it was a public humiliation. Her legal team strutted into court with Hollywood swagger, expecting to steamroll Baldoni with their fame and influence. Instead, they were outmaneuvered by Friedman, who tore their arguments apart with surgical precision. He didn't just defend Baldoni. He exposed gaping holes in Lively's story, like how she claimed to be a victim of harassment while sending friendly, flirty texts to Baldoni. Friedman's team also highlighted Lively's own hypocrisy, leaking texts to the press while demanding secrecy for herself. The judge's tone made it clear he saw through Lively's tactics, and he warned both sides that if they kept litigating in the media, he'd move the trial date up from March 9th, 2026. For Lively, this was a brutal reality check. Her A-list status wasn't going to sway the courtroom, and her carefully crafted narrative was starting to collapse. Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. This isn't just a celebrity spat. It's a battle that's peeling back the curtain on Hollywood's darkest corners. Lively's team thought they could use her star power to control the narrative, painting her as a victim of a predatory director. It's a tried-and-true playbook: leverage sympathetic media, rally public support, and pressure the other side to settle. But Baldoni flipped the script in a way no one expected. His lawsuit doesn't just deny Lively's claims. It accuses her and Reynolds of using their Hollywood clout to bully him into submission. Baldoni says Lively tried to take over. It ends with us demanding script changes, insisting on a separate cut of the film overseen by her team, and even getting Sony to marginalize him during post-production. He claims she turned the cast against him, had him removed from promotional materials, and barred him from the premiere's after-party. These aren't just petty complaints. They're allegations that Lively abused her power to undermine Baldoni, then played the victim when her own press tour backfired. The media's role in this saga is a whole other layer of drama. Early on, outlets like TMZ and the Daily Mail leaned toward Baldoni, emphasizing his evidence and downplaying Lively's claims. Meanwhile, People and US Weekly gave Lively glowing coverage, focusing on her emotional distress and framing her as a brave whistleblower. But as Baldoni's evidence mounts, even some of Lively's friendly outlets are starting to waver. Variety and The Cut, which initially ran pro-Lively stories, have published more neutral pieces, hinting at doubts about her narrative. Social media is where things really heat up. X is a battleground, with posts about the case racking up millions of views. One user called Lively's alleged sham lawsuit super shady, while another praised Baldoni's legal wins, saying the judge saw right through Blake's power play. These posts aren't evidence, but they show public opinion shifting. Lively's team wanted to dominate the narrative, but Baldoni's decision to launch a website, lawsuitinfo.com, has kept the conversation wide open. Let's talk about that website, because it's a brilliant move by Baldoni's team. Launched on February 1st, 2025, lawsuitinfo.com lays out his side of the story in painstaking detail, complete with a 168-page timeline, text messages, emails, and even a narrative that starts with his 2019 email to Colleen Hoover about adapting It Ends With Us. This isn't just a legal document dump, it's a PR masterstroke. It lets Baldoni speak directly to fans, bypassing media spin and putting the raw evidence in the public's hands. Lively's lawyers tried to shut it down, calling it another installment in Baldoni's retaliatory media campaign and requesting a gag order. But the judge said no. This website is a constant thorn in Lively's side, reminding everyone of the inconsistencies in her story and keeping the pressure on her to explain herself. Then there's Ryan Reynolds, who's not exactly helping his wife's case. Reynolds has tried to play the loyal husband, but his actions have only poured fuel on the fire. At the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special in February 2025, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler asked him, "How's it going?" His response? "Great. Why? What have you heard?" He thought it was a clever quip, but the internet went wild with criticism. Fans on X called it tone-deaf, with one user writing, "You don't joke about sexual harassment when your wife's suing for it." Read the room, Ryan. If Lively's claims are true, why is Reynolds cracking jokes instead of standing by her with conviction? His attempt to charm his way out of the controversy backfired, making him look complicit in what's shaping up to be a PR nightmare. Baldoni's lawsuit also targets Reynolds, accusing him of defamation and trying to pressure Baldoni into taking the fall for the film's troubled production. Texts from Reynolds to Baldoni, like one in February 2023 praising his dynamic energy, don't help Lively's case. They show a friendly relationship, not a hostile one. Hollywood's reaction to this drama is a story in itself. Just a few months ago, Lively was untouchable, with A-list allies like Scarlett Johansson, Taylor Swift, and other feminist icons singing her praises. Now, dead silence. Those allies have vanished, and it's not hard to see why. Hollywood loves a juicy scandal, but it hates a liability. Lively's sinking ship is scaring off her friends, who know that associating with her could damage their own careers. Even Anna Kendrick, who wasn't directly involved, got pulled into the mess when fans speculated she was siding with Baldoni after vague comments at the 2025 BAFTA Awards. Kendrick stayed quiet, but the fact that she's being dragged in shows how toxic this drama has become. Lively's upcoming projects are also feeling the heat. Studios are quietly pulling back, and her once lucrative endorsements with brands like L'Oreal and Gucci are on shaky ground. In an industry where credibility is everything, Lively's running out of it fast. Let's talk about the money, because the stakes here are mind-blowing. Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit isn't just a big number. It's a potential death blow to Lively and Reynolds' finances. Lively's net worth is around $50 million, and Reynolds' is about $350 million, which adds up to exactly $400 million. If Baldoni wins, he could wipe them out. This isn't a minor defamation case that gets settled behind closed doors. It's a career ender. Even if they dodge financial ruin, the legal fees, court costs, and potential punitive damages will be staggering. And that's not the worst of it. Lively's reputation is hanging by a thread. Once you're exposed as a fraud in Hollywood, the roles disappear, the endorsements vanish, and the red carpet invites stop coming. Lively and Reynolds could go from A-list royalty to industry pariahs overnight. The discovery process is going to be a bloodbath. Every email, text, and behind-the-scenes conversation will be dragged into the courtroom. Lively's team has already subpoenaed phone records from Baldoni, his publicists, and Wayfarer Studios, hoping to find more texts to bolster her claims. But Baldoni's team is doing the same, and they've got a head start with their mountain of evidence. If there's even one inconsistency in Lively's story, and let's be honest, there probably is, she'll be shredded under oath. Her refusal to be deposed by Friedman only makes her look more guilty. Why avoid tough questions if you're telling the truth? The longer she stalls, the worse it gets. The media is already turning, with once sympathetic outlets like The Cut and Variety starting to question her narrative. Reporters don't want to be caught backing the wrong side, and the victim story is losing steam. Baldoni, meanwhile, is playing a smarter game. He's not just fighting to clear his name. He's exposing the corrupt system that lets celebrities like Lively weaponize false allegations. His lawsuit calls out the media's bias, Hollywood's hypocrisy, and the arrogance of stars who think they're untouchable. By releasing his evidence publicly, he's taking the fight to the court of public opinion, where Lively's losing ground fast. His website, his media appearances, and his relentless legal strategy are keeping the pressure on. Even his former podcast co-host, Liz Plank, distanced herself from him after Lively's complaint, but Baldoni's not backing down. He's betting everything on the truth, and so far, it's paying off. As we head toward the March 2026 trial, the drama's only getting crazier. Lively's team filed an amended complaint on February 18, 2025, adding nearly 50 pages of new allegations, including claims that other women on set felt uncomfortable with Baldoni. But Baldoni's attorney called it underwhelming and full of unsubstantial hearsay, noting that these unnamed witnesses haven't come forward publicly. Lively's also added a defamation claim against Friedman for his media comments. But that's a tough sell. Lawyers have wide latitude to defend their clients. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team is pushing for discovery to move faster, eager to get Lively on the stand. They've even hinted at deposing big names like Taylor Swift, who was allegedly at a meeting about script changes, though that's unconfirmed and sounds like a long shot. Let's talk about the broader implications, because this case is bigger than Blake and Justin. It's a wake-up call for Hollywood, exposing how power dynamics, media manipulation, and celebrity privilege can distort the truth. Lively thought she could use her fame to steamroll Baldoni, but she underestimated the power of hard evidence. Baldoni's not just defending himself. He's challenging a system that lets A-listers rewrite narratives to suit their needs. His transparency, releasing texts, emails, and footage, sets a new standard for accountability in an industry that thrives on secrecy. For fans, this case is a chance to see behind the curtain, to question the stories we're fed, and to demand better from the stars we admire. The fallout for Lively is looking grim. Her career's on life support, her finances are at risk, and her Hollywood allies have abandoned her. If Baldoni wins, she could lose everything: her money, her reputation, her legacy. Even if she pulls through, the damage is done. No one in Hollywood will trust her the same way again. For Baldoni, it's a high-stakes gamble, but he's holding the stronger hand. His evidence is piling up, his legal team is relentless, and the public's starting to see through Lively's story. This isn't just a lawsuit. It's a reckoning for a system that's let powerful stars manipulate narratives for too long. But let's not forget the human side of this drama. Behind the headlines and legal filings are real people whose lives are being turned upside down. Baldoni has spoken about the toll this has taken on his mental health, mentioning in a January 2025 interview that he's been waking up with anxiety and struggling to shield his family from the spotlight. Lively, too, has faced her share of stress, receiving threatening messages online that prompted her team to request stronger protective orders. Both sides are under immense pressure, and the public's rush to pick sides often overlooks the personal cost of this very public fight. It's a reminder that even in Hollywood, where drama is currency, the stakes are deeply personal. The media frenzy isn't slowing down either. Tabloids are having a field day, with headlines like Blake's betrayal and Baldoni's bombshell dominating newsstands. X is a non-stop battleground, with fans and critics trading barbs over every new development. One user summed it up perfectly. Blake thought she could play the victim card, but Justin brought receipts, and now she's stuck. Another wrote, "This is bigger than a lawsuit. It's Hollywood's Me Too moment meeting its accountability era." These posts capture the mood. People are fascinated, divided, and hungry for the truth. And with Baldoni's website keeping the evidence accessible, the conversation isn't going away anytime soon. What's next? The discovery phase will be a war zone. Lively's team is digging for more texts to back her claims, but Baldoni's team is ready with their own arsenal. Depositions will be key, and Lively's reluctance to face Friedman's questions is already raising eyebrows. If she's forced to testify under oath, any cracks in her story will be exposed. Baldoni, meanwhile, is pushing for transparency, releasing more evidence as it comes. His team's hinted at additional footage from the It Ends With Us set that could further debunk Lively's claims, though they're holding it back for maximum impact at trial. The March 2026 trial date feels far away, but with both sides escalating, don't be surprised if Judge Lyman moves it up to keep the case from spiraling further into a media circus. Let's talk about the cultural impact, because this case is resonating far beyond Hollywood. It's sparking conversations about accountability, power, and the weaponization of serious allegations. Lively's claims tapped into the Me Too movement, but Baldoni's evidence is forcing people to grapple with the possibility of false accusations. It's a delicate topic. Nobody wants to dismiss genuine victims, but nobody wants to see an innocent person destroyed by lies either. This case is a lightning rod, with commentators on X debating whether Lively's lawsuit was a brave stand or a reckless power play. One user wrote, "If Blake's lying, she's hurting real survivors. If Justin's lying, he's a predator. Either way, the truth matters." That sums up the stakes. This isn't just about two celebrities. It's about trust, justice, and the stories we choose to believe. For Lively, the road ahead is brutal. Her career's already taking hits, with studios pulling back and brands reassessing their partnerships. Her once loyal fan base is splintering, with some sticking by her and others turning away as the evidence mounts. Reynolds isn't faring. Much better. His SNL flub has made him a meme, and his silence since then hasn't helped. If they lose this lawsuit, the financial and reputational damage could be catastrophic. For Baldoni, the fight's not over, but he's got momentum. His transparency and relentless defense have earned him supporters, even as he faces his own challenges, like repairing his public image after Plank's departure and navigating Hollywood's chilly reception. Before we wrap up, let's reflect on what this means for all of us. This case is a mirror, showing how fame, power, and truth collide in the public eye. It's a reminder to question the narratives we're fed, to dig for the facts, and to hold everyone accountable, whether they're an A-lister or an underdog. Hollywood thrives on illusion, but cases like this strip away the glamour and force us to face reality. The truth always finds a way, And right now, it's shining a harsh light on Blake Lively's crumbling empire. Thanks for sticking with me through this epic Hollywood saga. If you're as obsessed with this drama as I am, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any updates. Drop a comment below. Whose side are you on, Blake or Justin? What do you think the trial will reveal? And share this video with your friends to keep the conversation alive. Let's keep chasing the truth together. See you in the next one.